Hello there. Thank you for joining this short webinar on creating effective webinars. Now, just before we go into that, there's just a couple of things I'd like to bear in mind. First of all, we all need communication at different times for different reasons, whether it be sales, communication in the company, a new product launch, whatever it might be, we all need to communicate for different reasons. But there is a challenge in communication, and that is we have a lot of competition. We have to compete against other forms of communication and other people communicating. Looking at the slide, we've just grabbed just a few of the people making the headlines right now in terms of communication. And you can see in all kinds of different ways they're communicating their messages. And really, in terms of communication, these are competition. So how do you compete against this type of competition? Well, first of all, there's no getting away from quality. You need to maximize the kind of quality of what you're doing, the system that delivers it, the kind of material you're putting out onto that system, all should reflect absolutely top quality. In terms of the system delivering it, it should be simple to use. It should be one click, opens up one screen, no telephones, nothing like that. You should then get everything you want from that one screen. You should be able to see in that one screen good, clear pictures and sound. Now, why wouldn't you expect that? You'd also expect to see nicely designed and legible slides. So you want things that back up the kind of information you're talking about quite clearly and quite obviously. In terms of content, I think you should make sure, keep checking, make sure it's relevant, interesting, and focused on what the webinar is about. Hopefully here, we're creating a webinar on how to create effective webinars. So hopefully the information we're providing will help people focus on exactly what's required to deliver effective webinars. One thing I would strongly urge as well is please don't accept any compromise. Don't accept compromise in the system delivering it by, say, not having video and audio or having lesser sound quality or something like that. Equally, don't compromise on the content. Deliver as good a content with as much material, as much mixed media as you can. Now, all of that will reflect well on you. Equally, if you compromise what you deliver, remembering this might be one of the main systems of communication for some people from you. If you compromise on it, it will show through that you have compromised on it. Very few organizations set out to be average. Most organizations are trying to do the best they can. Being the best they can means don't accept any compromise. The other thing in a webinar is really we should aim to deliver everything that would be expected in a conventional seminar where you're gathering a whole load of people in a room, presenter at the front, slides, etc. Why wouldn't you expect to deliver that whole experience in a webinar? What would you expect then in a normal seminar? You'd expect to see and hear the presenter. In our case, on a webinar, you'd expect to see high quality video, hear high quality sound. You'd also expect to be able to watch accompanying slides. You'd expect some level of interaction. So you'd expect, for example, the presenter to be able to take questions from the audience or participants in the room. Similarly, in our webinar system, we can do that. So you need that level of interactivity to keep people interested, to keep people focused, and also to help that communication get through. Also, the presenter might wish to ask the audience some questions. Again, the system does that. So you need this kind of two-way communication to make sure that everything's working as well as possible. In a normal seminar, it's often common to give some kind of handout, whether it's a brochure, a pamphlet, a worksheet, some kind of aide-memoire. And again, really the webinar system should reflect this. It should have a system whereby you can electronically hand documents to people watching the webinar. Why wouldn't you have that? In terms of content, please do make sure, as we said earlier, it is focused. Really, the content should be exactly what was expected. So what the webinar was billed as should be exactly what the content is as well. Content, as always, no great surprise, should be good and interesting. Do whatever you can to keep it interesting. You could perhaps use different methods available. As I said, there's slides, you could download accompanying information, there's video clips could be added from different things, different ways, all to add more interest into the actual thing that you're delivering, the webinar you're delivering. And using all these different forms of it keeps people engaged, helps them to actually absorb the communication you're delivering. If you've got a very long webinar, then sometimes there's no getting away from it, the subject is quite long, then strongly I'd suggest stop for breaks regularly, give people a chance to get absorb the information they've already received, and then get them ready for the next bit of information. If possible, give people some tasks to do. So for example, give them a worksheet, a few questions to fill in, say, we'll stop now for 15 minutes, please answer the questions yourself, we'll return in 15 minutes, we'll restart. That's a great way to help people get involved, do their own thought processes, and then rejoin something. You might also wish to consider using different presenters. Again, that's easily done in a webinar, but it helps keep the flow of things, it helps to keep things varied, very effective. And reiterating what was said before, really, what would you do for people in a room? Well, really, you should do exactly the same for a webinar. That's how you can create an effective webinar. Why would you accept anything less? Now, I hope you've enjoyed this very brief presentation on how to create an effective webinar. There you'll find our contact details. We'd love to hear from you if you'd like to find out more, if you'd like to find out about our system, or indeed just ask us some questions about creating webinars, how you could use them. As I say, the contact details are on the slide there, they're on the website, there's various links posted here, so we'd love to hear from you. Meanwhile, thanks very much for joining us. Bye for now.